I'm grateful to you, sir. I beg to move that the Marriage Laws Amendment Bill 2010 be taken into consideration. Sir, the Marriage Laws Amendment Bill 2010 was introduced in this August House on the 4th of August 2010. And the purpose of the bill is to amend the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and the Special Marriage Act 1954 to include amongst the grounds of divorce the additional ground now of irretrievable breakdown of marriage. And this is and also to provide for certain safeguards in case divorce is granted to the wife and the children of the wedlock. The bill also seeks to mitigate the hardship that is caused to the parties in a marriage who file a petition for grant of divorce by mutual consent from the harassment that takes place inevitably because one of the party willfully, on second thoughts or for whatever reason, avoids coming to the court for fulfilling the other steps that need to be taken for taking the divorce proceedings to their logical conclusion. Sir, the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Personnel, Public Grievances, Law and Justice in its 45th report to this House on 4th March 2011 had made certain recommendations. And these recommendations have been accepted by government and hence the amendments are being moved. Sir, just very briefly, the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 was enacted on the 18th of May 1955, and that was to amend and codify the law relating to marriages amongst Hindus. It applies to all persons who are Hindus as defined in the Act. The Special Marriage Act, which 1954, which was enacted on 9th October 1954, provides for a special form of marriage in certain cases where the parties may not be wanting to be or are not able to take advantage of the Hindu Marriage Act or such acts as apply to them being of the persuasion of the religion that they belong to. Traditionally, sir, and over the years, the grounds of divorce that have been available and are presently available till such time as the House accepts the proposals that are being placed here. Those grounds are adultery, cruelty, desertion, conversion to another religion, unsound mind, virulent or incurable form of leprosy, a disease in communicable form, renouncement of the world, and not being heard of as being alive for a period of over 7 years, which is the presumption of death that applies in 7 years. The divorce granted in these circumstances can also be granted as I said earlier, on the by mutual consent, where both parties wish the divorce to be brought to an end, the marriage to be brought to an end. The consensual end of marriage, which is divorce by consent, is obviously theoretically based on the ground of irretrievable breakdown of marriage. But in both these acts, although there is a substrata of understanding that it's an irretrievable breakdown of marriage, such a ground is not specifically and explicitly provided. And there are Supreme Court judgments that have suggested that such a ground, presumably now, given the experience that we have of the years since these acts were brought into force, that such grounds should now be explicitly be made available in divorce by consent, either under the Hindu Marriage Act or the Special Marriages Act. And these are, as some of our eminent lawyer colleagues in the House will know, these are judgments in the Supreme Court, one being Jordan Dingay versus S.S. Chopra, which was a 1985 judgment, and then there is another judgment of Naveen Kohli versus Neelu Kohli, which is 2006 year judgment of the Supreme Court, where such suggestions have been made. So accordingly, a bill, namely the Marriage Laws Amendment Bill 1981, which was to amend these acts, was introduced in the Lok Sabha on the 27th of February 1981, and the bill inter alia sought to insert the new sections which are 13C, 13D and 13E, and the new sections 28A, 28B and 28C in the Special Marriages Act, and of course the ground of irretrievable breakdown of marriage. However, the bill could not be passed, could be considered and passed by Lok Sabha. And the 7th Lok Sabha was dissolved, and therefore the bill lapsed before it could be passed. Sir, the Law Commission also suo motu took up this very issue for examination in its 217th report entitled Irretrievable Breakdown of Marriage, Another Ground of Divorce, and presented this to the government on March 30th, 2009, recommending such a ground and for divorce to be granted on such a ground. In view of this background, sir, it has been felt, and I believe that this is felt widely, not only amongst members of the House, but widely in society has been felt, that a marriage that for all practical purposes has come to an end and only in appearance remains a marriage is a marriage that is probably at best put to an end. And certainly to leave two unhappy people and the consequences of the unhappiness of two people and what the impact it could have had, it would have on children of that marriage, it is best to give them an option to opt out of such a marriage and not compel them to remain linked together just for the sake of society. And therefore, on the recommendation of the Law Commission and the Supreme Court, we have come to the conclusion that such an amendment to these two acts would be very, very useful. So what happens under the mutual consent provisions which are in the Hindu Marriage Act as well as the Special Marriage Act, a motion is moved jointly by both the parties to the marriage and not before passage of 6 months can they move the motion afresh in order to get the divorce completed before the concerned court. However, it's been found quite often that one of the party decides to not turn up to move the second motion, and as a result leaves the other party hanging in an uncomfortable and a very unsatisfactory position. And we've felt, and this is what we commend to the House, that this is something that should be brought to an end. There are also issues, sir, that when divorce takes place, there are issues relating to security both of children as well as the wife who needs protection. Property that's been acquired during the subsistence of marriage, that property, apportioning that property in a judicious manner and a manner that would do justice between the parties, as indeed will protect the future and indeed the state in which the children find themselves in a broken marriage, is also being taken into account in these amendments. So one critical issue that was left out, and therefore an amendment is now being proposed, is also about adopted children. Natural children are included and would be protected, but adopted children would, for no fault of theirs and for no reason, not be able to get the protection that is provided to them in the existing law unless an adequate provision is made for them. Sir, in this background, I commend the act, the bill to the House and commend a motion for its acceptance.
Yes, motion moved.